Right, early September was the last time we caught up. It was over the Cran Neville in Hertfordshire, not far from where I live. I'd already started on the North Met, which is another local lake to me, and my ambition for the rest of the year was to try and catch a couple more decent fish from the venue before the winter actually arrived. And recently, well, the other month, I was lucky to actually achieve this. So I'll just quickly tell you how the session went. Basically, I'd already been over there fishing. I'd done 2 nights in 2 different swims up at the south end of the lake. And I moved, each morning I moved to another swim, and basically like I never heard nothing, never seen nothing. There weren't even no birds up that end of the lake, which was pretty sort of unusual, because normally there's just thousands of tufties and coots up that end, and there was nothing there. Anyway, the wind had slackened off, but we was due another big like gale force wind coming in. I packed up after the second night of no action, and I was about to go home, and a friend of mine, good old friend of mine, had been walking around the lake, and right down the very northern end of the lake there's a pipe that goes into another part of the lake of around 6 acres, which we call the Finger Bays. He had seen the fish as he was walking his dog near this pipe area, and he sort of caught up with me as I was loading my gear into my van, and let me know he'd seen the fish. Well, I couldn't believe it. It was right at the very end of where I was fishing. So I couldn't do nothing at the time because I was going home. I think it was my grandson's birthday. So I went home, and later on in the afternoon I crept back for a look. I didn't see nothing myself round by the pipe area, but I knew if there was one seen, there has to be more fish in that sort of surrounding part of the lake. So anyway, on the Thursday, which was the day after, I got over there early in the morning with my gear, and the wind had really picked up, and the wind was now hacking back up to the end of the lake where I was fishing previously. And I did think to myself, I wonder whether these fish have now moved up the top end of the lake, and I've now got to push my barra 60 acres away up to the other end. Anyway, I stood around for a while, didn't see nothing, and I think I dumped my gear, had a little look about, come back again, and I stood, you can actually see into where the pipe is, and there's a couple of posts on the entrance to the pipe that stop. To be honest, I don't know why they're there. Maybe there was something across there once to stop the fish going through, but I see, as I was looking, I see a mirror come in and flank against the side of the post. And I thought, well, that's just it, that's good enough for me. There's a little swim round the corner from there called the Point, which you can actually fish across to this area. So within no time at all, I was set up. And later in the day, I climbed up a little tree and actually see a group of fish coming in and out of the area. So obviously my confidence was just growing. And throughout that afternoon, I must have seen, I don't know, a dozen fish that were visiting the area of the pipe. They wasn't stopping, they was moving really fast, like in a tight shoal. And I just hoped that with the amount of energy they were burning off, come night time, they'd be feeding. Anyway, I won't drag it on too long, but basically during the night, I fished single white choddies, one over towards the pipe, and because it's quite a narrow area with a lot of tree line on, like close trees on the other side with snags, I only used 2 rods. One of the left hand was just flicked off the marginal shelf. During the night, that marginal rod did pick up a big liner. The bobbin pulled up to the top, and I thought I was away for an instant, and realised it was just a liner. Anyway, just before daybreak, the right hand rod on the pipe was absolutely sort of like just pulled round double. I was clipped up and tightened up tight. Anyway, I picked the rod up, and it was a real heavy fish on the end, just trying to take me into the snags basically. And I managed to sort of get control of it, bring it round in front of me, and then it tried to go left out of the vicinity of the area and just disappear. It really did fight hard, and there was a lot of me stepping over the rods and backwards and forwards with a net, until eventually I managed to get this beast of a fish in. And I couldn't believe it. When I looked in, I knew I'd achieved my ambition for the season, and I knew it was a 40 pounder, but I needed to confirm it. And it was a big wide fish, like it was massive, and it definitely was one of the A team. Anyway, later on I found out it was a fish called beaky, and it weighed in at 43 pounds. So I actually achieved my ambition for the season basically. That's all I wanted. I wanted to catch one more good fish before the winter arrived. Anyway, I still had a few hours fishing. It was just getting light, so I put the rod back out, and I think I had the kettle on. I think I had 2 cups of tea. Daybreak was coming, and the right hand rod was away again. and I couldn't believe it. This fish came in a lot easier. It didn't fight as hard as the other one, and as it rolled just off of the rod tip, I see it was a nice common, and I couldn't believe it when it went in the net. It was another huge fish, a fish called the long common, and weighed in at 38.8. So an amazing sort of overnight session, really. If my friend hadn't have told me he'd seen a fish down there, maybe I wouldn't have gone down there. So I do owe him a big thanks for that. But it's just keeping your ears open and looking around for these signs, and you know, they're not always. And this was on the back of a real strong sort of wind, a northerly wind. You know, you can quite often find them on the back of these winds in the little bays, and that night I got it right.